Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. Coming up in this episode, we're going to talk about downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. Coming up next, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is a special edition of the Diz Unplugged, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Disneyland. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disneyland vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner. Joined at the table today by my good friends Jenny Lynn Knopp.
Hi.
The host of the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, Tom Bell.
Hey, folks.
Kathy Whirling.
Hi, everybody.
Also from the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, our good friend Michael Bowling.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
And Mr. Will Perry.
Just happy to be here.
Oh, no. Really? Okay. Okay. Back in the production nook, Rhino Clavin on the switch.
Hello.
Our producer, Dustin West, and associate producer, Craig Williams.
Hey.
Hi.
Sitting alongside.
Oh, yeah. Brown sandwich back here.
The old brown sandwich. Because I'm wearing a brown shirt and I'm in the middle of the two of them.
So
Apparently.
you're telling me you're the meat in a Craig and Rhino sandwich?
Apparently.
That's
Gross
disgusting.
brown meat. Don't know where that came from.
That took a turn.
So, well, you're not going to throw that out there and expect me just to leave it, okay? So we are going to talk about downtown Disney, one of my favorite places to hang out when I'm at Disneyland and don't feel like being in a theme park. It's a very different experience than it is out here in Orlando, and we're going to kind of go into some of those differences and some of the things that we really like and enjoy about downtown Disney. But before we get to that, we have a video Craig has put together, kind of give you a taste of what downtown Disney in Anaheim looks like. So let's go to that. Another awesome video from Craig Williams, and every time I just got done saying again to these guys, watching these videos, I just want to go back. It was such a great trip. Such a great trip out there. So let's talk about Downtown Disney. Now, I think if we're going to talk about the differences between Downtown Disney in Anaheim and Downtown Disney in Disney World, the first thing you've got to mention is size. It is not nearly the breadth and scope of what we have here. It's also not completely under construction, but I'll save that bitterness for another discussion. And, where we have 3 sections to our Downtown Disney, we have the Marketplace, what was Pleasure Island, and, of course, West Side. There's just, one strip of land there that connects the Disneyland Hotel, runs in front of the Grand Californian, and goes into the promenade where you have the Disneyland Park on one side and Disney California Adventure on the other. But in that small space, they have packed a wallop. Some amazing restaurants. Some of my favorite restaurants to eat in are at Downtown Disney in Anaheim. Some really cool shopping and phenomenal entertainment at night, especially on the weekends. Some of the local musicians that come out and perform. I mean, really good stuff. And it's also got that vibe, that local vibe, because a lot of locals go there. It's not just tourists.
Date night at Downtown Disney.
Yeah. And you can tell because, maybe Sunday or Monday through Thursday or Wednesday, it's okay. You can get around. Thursday night, you really start to see it pick up. Friday and Saturday, it's insane. Can't move. But let's talk about dining first. And I can tell you that there are 2 places that are my top of my list to eat. And I try and make it there every time, to these 2 places every time I'm out there. First one is Catal. Mm-hmm. I think this is the unsung hero of Downtown Disney.
You can always get into Catal. It
blows my mind because the food is spectacular. It's a Mediterranean inspired menu, and it seems like no one knows it's there, even though it's this massive sign.
Right.
As you're going in the middle of Downtown Disney is the Uva Bar. It's an outdoor bar that also serves tapas and some items from the menu at Catal. And then Catal is right across the walkway. It's upstairs. Huge restaurant, beautiful restaurant, phenomenal menu. And I think I've eaten there a couple dozen times, I'd say. And maybe once or twice I felt the meal was a little disappointing. Outside of that, it's always been, and this meal that we had a couple of meals there.
Yeah, I always love going to the Uva Bar.
And I'm saying Catal, though. I mean,
Catal,
going for dinner. I know we had one meal there. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And you can always get in. We're House of Blues and Rainforest Cafe, Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen, which is another great place. These are really tough to get into.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to make reservations. Can you make reservations at these restaurants?
60 days?
60 days in advance.
I know at Jazz Kitchen, Corey and I ate there one night. Just real quick, all we could do is get a place at the bar.
Yeah.
Because it was just so insane. But
always.
That was we ate there for brunch a couple of years ago whenever we were out there, our entire group. But that was my first time going back for a dinner. And, oh, my God, was it good.
It's very good food.
Reservations at Disneyland are a totally different animal from here at Disney World.
I was going to ask you to talk about that.
Yeah, because, I mean, it opens at 60 days, but a week before, you're fine. I mean, unless it's the busiest time for a character breakfast or something like that in the parks, there's no problem getting in to anything you want a few days in advance, typically.
But walk up, especially it's a Friday night at 8 o'clock, and you're walking up to most of these restaurants. Chances are you're not getting in unless you go to Catal.
Yeah,
and it might lead you to believe that the restaurant isn't very good. It is. It's wonderful. And so if you haven't made reservations and you need a place to get into, Catal is a place I would recommend. My other favorite place, and I have to say Jazz Kitchen, so maybe 3 favorite places there. Jazz Kitchen certainly on that list, but Naples, the Italian restaurant. Yeah. This is owned by the Patina Group, which also owns Tutto Italia here. They manage Tutto Italia here in Epcot. And they have a string of restaurants, Italian restaurants across the country, but these are all upscale, more upscale gourmet Italian. And I got to tell you, the pizza, the food in general is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
I thought they were off this time.
Really?
As compared to other times.
Well, you were wrong.
I don't know. As we always say, that was my experience that night. I was there twice, and
See, I didn't get to try them this trip. I didn't go over there this trip. But I've had I have not eaten there as much as I've eaten at Catal. But every time I've eaten there, I've walked away going, okay, that was really good.
Yeah.
Especially the pizza. I mean,
even the pizza this time, I was surprised. That's what I went for.
You were just Debbie Downer.
No, I was surprised.
I don't like this.
No. And my other comment for that was the 2 times that I was there, because I was a single, I guess obviously, I'm going to take up a table and there's only one of me. I was sort of like stuck back in the corner, like go upstairs in the back. It's like, okay.
Did they say it just like that? Go upstairs in the back.
Yeah, they pretty much did downstairs.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. I could go find somebody to eat with, but, it was just a little strange.
Kathy's walking around the restaurant. Can I eat with you?
She goes on Tinder looking for someone to go out to dinner with.
I should have, yeah.
Well, Tortilla Joe's was also pretty good this trip. I know I didn't eat there myself, but Will got food there, and he couldn't finish it all. So, like the vulture I am.
The portions at Tortilla Joe's are huge.
Yeah.
Mexican food is something I have to be in the mood for. It's not something I'm going to go out of my way for. I don't eat a lot of it. Not that it's not good. It's just something that I've got to be in the mood for it. But I have eaten at Tortilla Joe's.
And the margaritas were really good.
Uh-huh.
I have never stepped foot in there. Every time I go there, I think I'm going to go over there and see what they have. And I never even stepped foot in there.
Now, I have eaten at House of Blues, and I remember it being fairly good, but I've only eaten in there once.
I think I've only eaten at House of Blues here, actually.
Really? Anybody House of Blues?
It's just one of those that you kind of
been to that bar down there, but haven't.
I'm
eaten
sure you have.
But the bar's good for live music.
Yeah.
Not so good for karaoke.
Do they have an actual concert venue in there?
They do. They do.
Yeah, and they do a gospel brunch the same way that we do
We've been
out
to
here.
the gospel brunch.
They do a lot of cover band concerts. I was looking up Wednesday nights. They do live band karaoke.
Oh,
which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
And you've been there for brunch?
Yes, and it was very good. Food was very good, and the gospel music was fabulous.
Yeah, I know when we did the gospel brunch out here, we loved it.
And something about Naples is that they're attached to it. They have their little Napolini, and you can get pizza by the slice. Or if we're staying in the hotel like the Grand, we'll call down. If we don't want to go to a restaurant, we'll call down and then order a pizza, and then I'll go down and pick it up and bring it back to the room.
That's a great idea. Never even thought of that.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I thought the to-go at that place was better than in the restaurant.
Okay, that's interesting. What else favorites dining-wise at Downtown Disney?
I hit La Brea Bakery once for breakfast before going into the park.
That is really good, La Brea Bakery.
It was a great place to stop.
Did you do the sit down or just the counter?
No, just passed through to the counter.
Okay.
We were trying to make it into the park that day, and it took a little time. It wasn't, a really quick process, but it was good.
Tony just did a review of some of the breakfast locations since she was talking about breakfast. Tortilla Joe's Taqueria, the little counter service outside Tortilla Joe's, was one of his favorites. Get a burrito for $6.
Yeah, they do have. Yeah. That's one of the things I really like because, again, like I said, Downtown Disney kind of connects the Disneyland Hotel, Grand California, and the parks. So if you're staying at the Disneyland Hotel at the Grand California, or even Paradise Pier, because it's not that you're just walking through the Disneyland Hotel and coming over. There are a number of places. I know outside of Ralph Brennan's, there's a counter service where you can grab a quick breakfast.
I was also going to say they have Earl of Sandwich at Disneyland, just like they do out in Walt Disney World. However, a big difference is at ours, if you go at the wrong time of day, then you're going to be waiting in a half an hour long line just to get a sandwich.
Earl of Sandwich doing breakfast?
Yes, they also do breakfast. But in general, I've never gone to the Disneyland Earl of Sandwich and ever had to wait at any point in time. It's just, I don't think it's as popular, but it's just as good.
Okay.
I think it's a great way for people who are wanting to get in, grab something to eat, but then just get into the parks. There's a number of options.
Precisely. So you have Earl of Sandwich, you have the counter service right outside of Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen, you have the Tortilla Joe's, the Taqueria, and then you have La Brea Bakery. So you've got like 4 places as you're walking into the parks where you can do a grab and go. Great place for, and La Brea in particular, great place for coffee.
Right. The size of what you're given is great too. I had a breakfast panini. I couldn't even finish it. It was so large. So, it's not like you're grabbing a small something just to hold you over. Like, I had a full meal that was handed to me.
There's also a Starbucks. I know you don't like to mention that, but...
Okay, actually, I got to say something. Where were we?
Hard Rock Hotel.
Hard Rock Hotel. Doing a 7 and 7 for Universal. And there's a Starbucks downstairs. And I didn't like the coffee. The coffee they had in the room I didn't like. Newman's Own Keurig. So I got the blonde roast from Starbucks. And yes, I'm sure the Earth is going to stop spinning on its axis. It was actually good.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
It was actually good. And I got to be honest about it. So I'm not so entrenched in my opinions that I can't be swayed. Their regular coffee, their specialty coffees are garbage. This was a decent cup of coffee.
Yeah. And the other little unknown factor, there's a screen in our Starbucks on the west side that goes to the screen at the Starbucks.
So they have cameras in each store.
In each store, so you can
that's
see
cool.
You can interact on both.
Yeah, it's like a chalkboard
Starbucks.
almost that you can
thank
write
you
on.
for saying that better than I did, but yeah,
touch
because there's always people in front of the screens at either one.
They've got a magic wall.
Screen.
So I mean, there's, again, because Downtown Disney is really almost an entryway into the parks.
One thing we haven't mentioned is if you park in the Mickey and Friends parking lot, which is the huge parking lot on property, the tram drops you in Downtown Disney.
Right.
So,
and if you're walking from off property in, most people will, like if you're staying off property and you're walking in, aren't you coming in on the other side?
You're coming in on the other side.
So you would have to walk across
the Esplanade.
And out to get into Downtown Disney.
Correct.
So just wanted to point that out to people. Other favorites, dining-wise. I'm glad you mentioned Earl of Sandwich, because that just recently opened a year or so ago. But what else?
Didn't you catch a basketball game at ESPN?
I did. I was watching the one of the not Sweet 16, but March Madness.
Sweet 16.
Well, that's part of it.
It's gay basketball.
No, that's part of it. And I didn't try the food in there, but I will tell you the atmosphere inside the ESPN zone was very. It didn't even seem like it would have been as good as an Applebee's. I did not taste the food.
Now, wasn't there a server there who was a viewer?
Yes, and she refused to come visit me. I was sitting at the bar watching the basketball game, and I kept the bartender there was saying, "My friend works here. She's I forget where she worked, maybe one of the servers or something." And said, "My friend recognized you, and she wanted me to say hi." I said, "Tell her to come over." And I said this about 5 times. She's like, "No, she doesn't want to do it. She's too scared. She's too scared." Whatever. Okay, so I walked out of there after I lost the game and never got to meet that person.
You know how rare it is to find one of us alone?
Yeah, well, everybody else was doing something else, and I really needed to see that basketball game. It was my team was playing.
So inside, how does it compare to our ESPN?
It is completely different. While ours has kind of this high-tech vibe to it, where there's TV screens on all the booths and TVs all around. and ours in Orlando almost has like this party atmosphere. There's stuff on the walls. There's a big bar in the center. This felt a lot more spread out. There were like multiple bars in different rooms, and the dining area was this big, empty, cavernous room that had like one big television in the center.
Oh, wow.
I know there's more nuance to it than that, but it felt different to me.
Is that ESPN zone like the chain where they have games and crap all over the place?
If they had games, there were 2 stories, so if they had games, they must have been upstairs. I didn't see them.
All right, so
I think the only restaurant we didn't mention was Rainforest Cafe.
Rainforest Cafe is out there. Well, you can understand why I don't mention Rainforest Cafe. I've never eaten in there.
I have. My granddaughter loves it.
Does she?
And the food is decent. So, I mean, it's good. But it is the Rainforest Cafe. They have all the special effects and the animals and the rain and all that. But I think every time we have our granddaughter, we go there because she likes it so much.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about some of the shopping. There is, I was talking to these guys before, the store that started my obsession with man bags, Fossil. It's a great Fossil store out there. And it's a great, really, really nice staff that work in there. Something to keep in mind if you have a Disneyland annual pass or if you have the Premier Pass, which is both coasts, virtually every place at Downtown Disney gives you a discount with that pass. It's not like ours.
Yeah.
Your annual, I'm going to tell you, people really should factor that in terms of the cost of the pass. Factor in the amount of discounts you get. The hotel discounts are, I think, a lot more plentiful out in Disneyland than we get here. I think they're just in terms of the number of days that are available versus what we do, and of course
merchandise 20%.
Merchandise.
Yeah. And the
20% off.
The big difference is out there. Every time you bought, they asked you if you had an annual pass. When was the last time here at Walt Disney World they ever asked you if you had an
very
annual
rarely.
pass?
Even in the parks.
Right.
Do you have an annual pass? Do you have an annual pass? But I don't think it's 20% at Disney locations. I think at most of the other retail locations it's 10%.
Probably.
So,
but you're still talking D Street and Wonderground Gallery and.
Well, let's talk about some of those stores.
And even some of the kiosks in Downtown Disney offer discounts as well.
Nice.
What do you feel stands out as best shopping experiences?
I loved the Wonderground Gallery.
Right,
I think I ended up annoying the people that worked there because I would go every day and ask a million questions about the art and stuff. And the one here had maybe opened a week or two. It had just opened, so I hadn't been to it yet. And I ended up leaving with a hipster Mickey print of Disneyland at the end of that trip. But I don't know. It was a really cool vibe, really cool stuff in there.
When I think about shopping at Downtown Disneyland, that is a standout for me in terms of what separates that from ours. It's not only is it an art gallery, but they have so many cool prints you can buy, tchotchkes, collectibles, all kinds of cool stuff in there.
And every month they'll have an artist in residence. So during the weekends, weekend evenings, they'll have an artist there just drawing and signing prints and things like that.
And I much prefer the D Street out in Disneyland compared to ours back here. Ours is still very focused on Vinylmation. I mean, now they're getting into Star Wars and Marvel, but there's also specialty items out there like my awesome fedora that I purchased while I was out there.
Looked really good on you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Haven't worn it since.
I forgot you had that.
And one place
God forbid he makes himself look nice.
Yeah, it's hard. I'd rather have chewed up hats, but a place I always go to get a present for Kylie while I'm out there is Vault 28.
He is going to take
You can talk about it because I just picked something out there and get it for her, but you understand what it is.
Yes, that was the shopping highlight for me. As it's probably, if there's something out here close to equivalent, it would be Trendy, which is my favorite store here, but they have some really great accessories, clothing, bags. I'm not even that much of a shopping girl, and it's common for me to go into a store and just walk out empty-handed, but I went into this store. I did come out with a very nice sundress that I wanted to wear for the evening for our steak dinner that night. I almost came out with 2, and that's a very, very big deal. In addition to that, I came out with accessories. So my point is that for something to prompt me to spend that amount of money and want so many things. I just think it speaks a lot to the store. And I enjoyed it there so much that at the end of the trip, I actually went back to purchase something for my daughter for her birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. It's girl-wise, I can't think of any store in there that would be a better place to stop.
That's the place, because it made shopping for Tiffany easy for me.
Yeah.
I bought her a shirt from the Vault, and I don't think I've ever bought her clothes, but I got her something out of there.
There's just so many really great clothing options there, and the accessories to go with it.
And that's also the place where you see the Vera Bradley and the Dooney and Burke and all that kind of stuff in there, right?
Well, they also have that in the World of Disney has the Dooney and Burke.
They have some. I think the other thing that I like about this store is it's got a really great balance with theme park themed clothing, but then they have clothing there that's not theme park themed as well. So you get both options. You can go the Mickey route, or you can go the normal cool clothing route.
Now, Will, you found a store that really spoke to you.
Yeah, and I'm pretty bummed I didn't end up getting anything.
What did I tell you?
I know, but I had to buy a bag and it was already full, and I don't know how I would have got this home. Ride Makers was a store.
They ship them.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been kind of kicking
Thanks,
myself.
Mrs. Helper.
Yeah, thanks for telling me now.
Well, you could get one here and ship it home.
Really cool. I'm into remote control cars, and Cars is one of my favorite movies. So as soon as I walked by the window, I saw you could customize Mater and put like rims on them and flames coming out, and it was really cool. So I really wish I would have bought one.
I told you, go do it, but he doesn't listen. The World of Disney store out there is a cool store as well. Laid out a little bit different than ours, not quite as large as ours, but
same basic merchandise.
Same basic merchandise.
We don't have Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique inside of ours.
Right.
Yeah.
But that store needs to be bigger, because if you go on a Friday or Saturday night, it's wall-to-wall people.
Well, especially when the park's letting out.
Yeah, because it's the exit to the parks, going to the parking lot and the hotels. Yeah, it is packed.
Sorry, with World of Disney, even if you don't like the stuff inside, pay attention on the outside of the store, because some of the coolest decorations in all of Disneyland are the dioramas they have on the outside.
In the windows,
Oh, I could just stare at those all day.
The art of window decoration and window merchandising has kind of gone away from where it was, 40 years ago. And you just finding places that still will put that effort and time into
a window display.
Window displays, I think, is awesome, and he's right. It's a great place to, it's a good thing, a great thing to go look at. Really enjoyable to go look at those window displays. Kind of reminds me of like Fifth Avenue at Christmas. We used to walk down Fifth Avenue, and all the big department stores had these amazing, outrageous displays, these Christmas displays in their windows, and people would literally just go up there to see that.
One thing about shopping is if you're staying at an on-property hotel, there are certain days where if you sign up, they will open the shops about an hour or so early, and just for the hotel guests.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
It's certain shops. Like we took our granddaughter to Build-A-Bear. I mean, that place is a zoo, and it was just us and another family, and we had the store to
Where do
ourselves.
you sign up for this?
You go down to guest services and sign up, or you can just call down and sign up for it. And we built she picked this white dog, and we built it, and like I said, we had the store to ourselves.
How did I not know that?
And I think it's
just,
Anna and Elsa's
there's just
boutique.
a few stores.
It's just a handful of stores.
But still,
and they change. The stores sort of move in and out of being
like used to be
part of it.
Sephora was on the list, but I don't think that's on the list. Is Ride Makers maybe?
I believe Ride Makers is.
Anna and Elsa's Boutique.
Yeah. So usually any that where there's usually waiting in line in the shop, or you have to build something, whatever it is, you can sign up early if you are one of the Disney hotel guests.
I find myself saying the phrase, I didn't know that, to Michael Bowling all the time. And to you. So what else? What am I missing in terms of...
I don't know if you want to mention Alamo is right there at Downtown Disney.
Alamo rental car, yes. We were talking about that in one of our other episodes that Alamo Rent-A-Car is located right across the street from the Disneyland Hotel in downtown Disney. It's right around the corner from Earl of Sandwich. And depending on time of year, I find them to be a little expensive, but we were looking at some rates for June, and they actually looked really good. So Alamo is right there, and that's nice if you want to take transportation to the resort from the airport and then just use a car for a couple of days that you may want to go to Huntington Beach or somewhere else in Anaheim or down to San Diego. It's very convenient. They make it very easy for you. The parking is right there, right across from the hotel. So it's very, very easy. So that's a good point.
Well, I think downtown Disney though comes alive at night. Because there are so many local musicians that perform there. They have the large stage near the ESPN zone where they have a band, and they'll put out a little dance floor. People will dance to it. The trees are all lit, and it's a great place to hang out at night.
They also have the
nighttime
movie theater.
Yeah, the AMC theaters.
I was just gonna say the nighttime atmosphere is really nice there. The musicians, every time we walk through, sounded great. So to have a beer and just walk through, it's certainly a place where
great place
you
to
guys
hang
can
out.
hang out.
I would
really
also
is.
say about downtown Disney, we didn't talk about it, but there's a monorail station there that is a great way to escape the crowds going into the park. And it's even better like on a Friday night or Saturday night when the park is just so jam-packed. If you get on the monorail at Tomorrowland and come out through into downtown Disney, you've escaped all those crowds. So use the monorail. It's, resort guests get the extra magic hour. And out there, it's considered an attraction rather than transportation. So
That's true.
So you have to have park admission to use the monorail.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll drop you off in Tomorrowland. The monorail.
Yeah, and you go through the turnstiles and bag check getting
Correct.
onto the monorail.
I just want to say, the downtown Disney for me was just what? No. Was an extremely relaxed vibe compared to the one here that stresses me out to no end because it's just where it's located. All the hotels surround it. You just walk in. It was so easy, and it was an enjoyable leisure experience. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. Do not skip it when you go.
Right.
Because I would not recommend skipping the one here, but it's just a nightmare right now that this one was the complete
Yeah, look,
opposite for me.
I'll say this. If Disney Springs is what I think it's going to be, we're going to have an amazing downtown Disney.
It'll be worth it.
I'm very excited about Disney Springs. It's the construction and 18 months to build the parking garage that I wasn't excited about.
It's actually getting better because now they've opened the connector from the garage down into downtown Disney. And they've got escalators and they've got elevators. And it's funny, they play like disco music and some like jazzy music as you come off. And Katie and I were sitting there the one day and just watching. People were standing there dancing. This is going to be a really popular spot as you come out of the parking garage. So it's getting better. It's not quite as bad as it used to be, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like one thing that has to be mentioned, Tom brought up the name, but Anna and Elsa's Boutique, the newest store to open up there, right?
Yeah.
And
It took over the Disney 365 store.
from what I could tell, it is the most popular store down there because I walked in and I could barely move around.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
just
wow.
flooded it. But if you love Frozen and your kid still loves Frozen, that's the place to go.
Craig was just disappointed he couldn't get an Elsa dress for himself.
So that's basically Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, but
It is. They have the little,
we do have
setup.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique inside Disneyland Park, but that's
Right.
yeah.
This is
same-
the downtown
same
Disney
difference,
version where
yeah.
they got the beauty chair with the mirror in front, and they do their
Yeah.
thing with the
Yep.
kids.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for our discussion on downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, go to Disneyland.